OTB, who's this?
Recorded in front of the world on Facebook Live, it's OTB Podcast Race Companion. OTB. Hey guys, it's Jeff. Oh wait, hold on.
Okay, so I'm going back and looking at some of the analytics off of the Facebook Live post, and these numbers are absolutely unreal, dude. Okay, so 94% of the video views were created off of shared posts. Only 6% were from the OTB podcast Facebook. So to put it into perspective of how many people are seeing this, as of this moment right now, which I'm recording this at 7:30 p.m. on Monday, 53,224 people. That is such a big number. I'm trying to imagine, imagine having 53,224 people in one place at one time watching you. It's a pretty mind-bending fact. Okay, so now you know the numbers of the OTB podcast Facebook Live videos. I feel like I should have a big feather or quill, and I should be wearing a large proper hat, and I would take that feather or quill and place it into my hat. No big deal. Okay, so anyway, thanks for joining. This is the OTB podcast Race Companion. If you have not heard, we are doing a Facebook Live Race Companion along with the Monster Energy Supercross broadcast, which are aired on Fox Sports 1. We have no affiliation with either FS1 or with Feld. But we are doing a companion podcast on Facebook Live. So here's what you do, in case you don't know. Go to fb.com/OTB podcast 10 minutes before the first gate drop, which is usually 7:05 local time, wherever the race is at. So to put it into perspective, this weekend, that's 8:05 Mountain, 9:05 Central, 10:05 East Coast. Just go to our page. That's facebook.com/OTB podcast. And from there, you can watch our race call and analysis as we watch our TV from the OTB podcast studio. Side note, like a dummy, I forgot to push the record button for the 250SX main. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance. I'm truly sorry. I'm very mad at myself. Okay, now that I've apologized, sorry it happened. It's not on here. But we still got everything else and the 450 main, so you can listen to that. Also, if you are a fan of what we're doing here, you can pledge to keep the show on the air by going to Patreon, patreon.com/overthebars. And you can pledge to us on a monthly basis. For $5, you can get in to help support the podcast. We mail out stickers, t-shirts, dog tags, cool promotional stuff. It gets sent out. We try to just stick with baseline stickers for 2 or 3 months in a row, save up the money, and then buy our patrons something really cool that they're not going to expect. So that's how that works. It just, it's like saying, hey, yeah, not only am I a fan, but I'm like a huge fan. So thank you for that. Thank you to all of our OTB patrons, and thank you, kind listener, for listening to the show. This is not a full-scale podcast. This is just the audio recording from the Facebook Live post as we watch the races. So again, we release it every week. Also about next weekend, Anaheim 2. Mike will be back. He had to call in sick, so Scott Gebkin joined me in studio, and we did the damn thing. So Mike will be back next week. It'll be Mike and I, and we'll have more of like a true race call. This one was more of me trying to pretend that I'm Mike, and I did a terrible job of it. And Scott was the analysis guy. He did a great job. Plainly put, we need Mike back. So also, if you want to buy an Over the Bars t-shirt, go to ripandruts.com. That's my sticker company. ripandruts.com. Click on the store button, and then at the bottom you'll find the link for the t-shirt. $15, whatever you size. $15 make you holla. Also, I just want to put this out there. If you're interested in buying a full bike custom sticker kit, check me out, ripandruts.com. I do full custom decals, one-off. Your bike will be the only bike that looks the way that it does for $235, printed, shipped. That's right. Designed, printed, shipped. $235. And mini plates are included. And so are proofs. Good luck finding that price anywhere else because you just won't. All right. Let's do the dang thing. Here is me and Scott Gebkin. Thanks a bunch. Thanks to our listeners. We will see you on fb.com/OTB podcast at 8:55 p.m. Central Standard Time on Saturday. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the Over the Bars Race Companion from Monster Energy Supercross in Houston. Tune in to FS1, and if you're trying to sync up the live feed on Facebook and the live feed on the TV, the easiest way to do it, as Ralph comes on the screen right now. So the easiest way to do that is whenever we go to the first 250SX West round, the heat one, whenever they throw the 30 card up, we'll take mention of that. So as we can see here, Jenny Taft is talking to Tomac, and it appears Tomac's out for the night. In my opinion, I think that it's a concussion related issue, and they're talking about the shoulder. I mean, there's something about concussions that have a bit of a stigma where it's like they don't want to talk about what it was that happened.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about it. It's kind of now just like the NFL, the football world. It's just like that now, where it's really bad news if you have head injuries, especially with the amount of money that the helmet manufacturers are pouring into this.
Well, absolutely, and we saw whenever he crashed there that it took him a second to get up, and the pant malfunction happened. That's an entirely other topic. And he obviously took a digger on the shoulder, and it came in for sure, but. I mean, that was a pretty hard slam to the head.
Yeah, and I mean, he's wearing the best helmet you can get, the best helmet on the market. He's got a great, sponsor there with him. And I mean, I think it could be a shoulder issue. I mean, he tried to go ride. I mean, okay, it's been a week. If depending on how hard he hit his head, I mean, I could probably still go out and burn a couple of laps and hold on pretty well. You know what I mean? At least finish a practice. He pulled off both practices early. His lap times were 10 seconds off of everyone in practice. And so with that going on, it's really hard saying. He's had shoulder issues over in the past. I mean, something like that. I mean, just look at Benny Bloss.
Yeah.
Same. He's a local boy, has same kind of issue where, a slight hit to the shoulder can cause all kinds of damage.
Well, it's something to keep into consideration is that the shoulder is actually the most used joint in the body. So to have a shoulder injury, I mean, really, you can still walk, you can still get around, everything is still working. But so much of your strength, and especially in motocross, which is so derived of upper body strength, then things can go haywire real quickly. So we're watching the track map right now. This Yamaha Aero is making this left-handed corner and then into this step-on, step-off section here. So I was watching in time practice this section. Some of the things that the guys were doing. Scott, did you happen to catch live live broadcast earlier?
No, well, I watched a little bit of it actually while I was waiting on you to get here.
Okay, so some of these sections are really gnarly, and something that I have noticed is that there seemed to be a lot of opportunity for guys to launch into them and then launch out of them. So things are a little bit different than they were last weekend on the baseball style track, which can really make a pretty large difference between the way that the track is formulated. In my opinion, these football stadium tracks definitely go a higher speed, and they're also longer lap times.
Yeah, I mean, they have a whole lot more floor plan to work with, so they can higher speeds, bigger rhythms, longer sets of whoops, whatever it is. The biggest thing on this track that I noticed is there's 2 right-hand turns. Everything else is a left-handed 90 or 180. There's 2 right-hand bowl 180 turns, and it's just interesting.
Well, yeah, and I mean, in my opinion, having less right-handed corners makes for better racing because the brake is on the rear brake is on the outside, which is like local riders, we rely on our back brake a lot more than these supercross racers do rely on their back brake. So for us, it makes sense to watch and be like, oh, I can go faster through a right-hander because you're more comfortable coming into it because you have that your right foot ready to go on the back brake. But as you know, and especially with teaching with your riders and with Innovative MX, that so much of it is getting people to get off of that back brake and get settled down for corners. And so we see that here, especially like these top athletes in Monster Energy Supercross, they're used to doing that. They've got that down. So the right-handed corners, there being less of them, I guess actually what I'm trying to say is it really doesn't matter. But for us, the left-handed corners are where we can really go faster. Yeah, turn that goddamn thing off.
I'm working on, I don't know. I'm trying to get it all set up here. I'm new. I'm a new guy. All right.
Right on. So also OTB is live on the Instagram. We're just trying to drive views from the Instagram to Facebook Live. So go to fb.com/OTB podcast. So since the commercial's on, I'm going to take a quick second here and say, number one, thank you to everybody that tuned in. We appreciate you watching. I'm Jeff Crutcher. This is my co-host for the night. This is Scott Gebkin. Normally sitting right here would be Mike Garrison. Mike had some stomach ulcers and he had to go to the hospital this week, so he's been down and out. So we wish a speedy recovery to Mikey G, and hopefully he will be back with us next weekend.
Mike, get back in here. Nobody wants to hear me talk on it, so get back in here.
So there's that. Also, I want to take a second to thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers. If you're interested in helping the Over the Bars podcast, go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/overthebars. And you have 3 different levels of just being a fan. So you can donate $5 a month, which, I mean, everybody that's watching this, you can afford $5 a month towards our podcast. And it makes a huge difference in the production that we're able to do. This production is directly attributed to our Patreon subscribers. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to do this. Just want to say that. So then secondly, and whenever you subscribe, you get a sticker pack sent right to you, OTB sticker pack. Secondly is the $10 subscription. If you're interested in that, check it out. We send you stickers every month. And then, of course, there's our premium tier, the $15 a month subscription package, which gets you the sticker package, and we talk about you on the show. We'll go into that later whenever we get a quick break. And then we stick you customized stickers that we send you that are going to, have your name, number, our podcast, a couple of our sponsors, etc. So if you're interested, go to patreon.com/overthebars. And we have 4 corporate sponsors. We have Donnell's Motorcycles in Independence, Missouri. They're a Honda Suzuki dealership, and they carry a couple other brands. Big thank you to them. They were the earliest supporter of the Over the Bars podcast. Right behind them is Bar to Bar MX in Wichita. Bar to Bar is one of the premier races in the Kansas City area. I'm sorry, in the Wichita area, which, I mean, really reaches out to so many places around the Midwest. Go to bar2barmx.com. Check their calendar. They've got a Loretta Lynn area qualifier coming up. Also, we want to thank Nick Peterson and Bike Dash Works LLC. Nick does pro-level tuning, modification, maintenance, suspension setting. He does it all. He's got the eye for it. He is a pro motocross racer, former supercross racer, and now he's really focused on working on bikes. And also, thank you to Darttown Arena in Chattanooga, Chattanooga, Tennessee. If you want to find out about Darttown Arena, hit up Corey Hip. He's your guy. Or find him on Instagram and Facebook. Corey is also another pro racer that's actually trying to make his way through the AMSOIL Road to Supercross. Darttown Arena is a really cool concept. Imagine paintball meets Nerf guns.
Yeah, I mean, what else could you ask for?
Yeah,
Exactly.
So check out Darttown Arena, follow them on Facebook, and I'm pretty sure that he's working on getting franchises available, so check with that. So thank you to our Patreon subscribers, our Patreon pledges. We appreciate it. Please go to patreon.com/overthebars. And as you can see, it's time to go racing.
Yeah, it's time to go racing. We've got a couple different things going on that I want to talk about. I mean, so we're starting out with our lights class. Justin Cooper, brand new up-and-coming kid. I mean, set the world on fire as an amateur. He is out tonight. Big crash in practice, and he's out.
Well, let's hope that he can get back. He had a really good showing last weekend, and obviously he's got that 2-digit number under his belt. Okay, so the 30 card is up now. Monster Energy Supercross 250 Heat 1, live from NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. Let's wait for the card to go sideways now as they're lined up. Our top qualifier, Shane McElrath. Right behind him, Mitch Oldenburg, Joey Savacci. Those are your top 3 qualifiers. The revs are coming up. The gate's about to drop.
Yeah, here we go with that brand new starting grade that they put into practice this year.
And they're off. So it's a pretty long start here into a tight left-handed corner. Looks like Savacci's got the whole shot. A couple guys are going to triple through the rhythm section now. And tight left-handed corner, they're all going to bunch up. And we got our new leader.
Yeah, who we got here out front on a Yamaha number? Mitch Oldenburg, who had a really good times in practice today. That's all they talked about was his performance in practice, and here he is getting off to a good start.
Well, these Yamahas have been getting really good starts lately in Monster Energy Supercross, as it seems they're kind of starting to unpack now. So we've got Oldenburg, followed closely by last weekend's winner, Shane McElrath. It looks like we got ourselves a couple privateers. I noticed in time qualifying that there were some guys that put some really good, a lot of good racing going on here. A couple guys that put in some really good timed qualifying.
Yeah, right there you can see the difference in a factory bike and a privateer bike right there in that second set of whoops coming in before the finish line. Just a completely different setup and a different product available to those guys.
So shout out to Bracken Hall, the number 792 on this privateer Kawasaki. Things to be going. It's a pretty good start for him. Still, Oldenburg out front, McElrath in second, Savacci in third, Melross in fourth, the Australian, then Bracken Hall, the privateer, in fifth. Top 9 go in. Starling, followed by Taft, and then number 137 on the Yamaha, Martin
Costello,
who's another, I think that he's a new guy in Monster Energy Supercross.
He's on Ryan Hughes' new team, Racetrack Supercross. If you guys followed that on YouTube, they had basically a tryout, like a 6-rider tryout. They've got about five episodes on YouTube. Check it out. Pretty cool to see our sport, kind of going that way with a reality TV show online. But here we are coming through the sand section. That's really going to change things up this week. Even it is all left-handed, and then you go into a big, long straightaway with some big jumps, and I think that's going to be a key part of the track this week.
Still Oldenburg out front. McElrath chasing him down. He's got a different line through the rhythm section there. Oldenburg's got quite a lot on his hands, Scott, with last weekend's winner, Shane McElrath. Who do you think will be the obviously the battle shaping up here is McElrath goes inside. Savacci's coming up closely. Who do you think can hold on here?
I think Oldenburg's got the speed. He's kind of ran the speed all day. That's all they were saying, a lot of that. But McElrath, he wants to win. He wants to show everybody that he's not just another guy on the gate riding a KTM. He wants to prove the fact that last week wasn't a fluke, and he's here to play.
Oldenburg's Yamaha seems to be hooking up pretty well on this dirt here in Houston. It's definitely clay, but there is some sand mixture in the actual dirt itself. So I expect to to see a lot of really good ruts form up in these corners. Scott, what do you think of traction availability as the night goes on?
Well, first off, look at that triple that McElrath just sent off. Some people would even call it a quad, going from table over the next two rollers. But traction tonight, and the layout of this track with the big bowl turns, lots of hard 180s. We should be seeing some really good passing and some just higher speeds. But the traction should be there all night long. I don't see anything getting hard packed. Usually you get down to a hard base when you're running on these kind of stadiums. But with the dirt in Houston, I mean, we've rode there before. I don't see that being an issue. I think these guys are going to have traction all night.
McElrath to the inside right after the finish line for the taking over the lead. Savatgy's coming up closely on Oldenburg. Oldenburg has set the fastest lap time with a 55.6. Savatgy's right behind with Savatgy with the fastest lap time with a 54.8, and he just set that on the last lap. Things getting pretty tight here between McElrath and Oldenburg. These guys got to watch out because Savatgy's right behind them, and he's not afraid to rub and get things in tightly there.
Yeah, here we come into the whoops. You can still see that KTM really pulled ahead of Oldenburg. He must have got a really good drive coming into those. You got that long straightaway running in to each set of whoops, which is really going to change your entrance speed.
So that last corner that we saw there sets up. Okay, now watch out. Joey Savatgy goes down trying to make the pass. So that's what I was about to say is it seems like some of these corners may be a little deceiving actually where the dirt is more chunky than it is tacky.
And I think that's just kind of a Savatgy thing. A Savatgy just did a Savatgy move. I mean, he really pushed the issue right there. I think he had more speed. Obviously, he just set the fastest lap time with a 54.8. So he didn't have to go rush that pass like that. And like we talked about, the dirt being a little looser, easily could just tuck the front there and went down.
So we've got 1:03 to go left in the race, which will probably give us 2 more laps before we see the checkered flag here. Heat 1, Monster Energy Supercross with the OTB Race Companion. So we're going to take a check back here. So I like what McElrath did there. He really set up Oldenburg. That was a pass that he had coming a couple corners in advance, and then as we can see here, Savatgy just tucked that front wheel.
He really just pushed the issue. I don't think that was a smart move. I don't think that was a good pass to make. I think he could have easily ran the speed, run the same line as Oldenburg, and set him up in the next turn because you have the same type of turn back, and now we have Savatgy drop back to fourth. Now he's just past Melross back into third, but he's lost valuable time on first and second.
So as they run right now, McElrath, Oldenburg, Savatgy, Melross, Taft, Hall, Starling, Castello, Killian Albertson was going to be the last guy in if they stay as they are. We're going to cross over the minute mark into the 2-lap territory. These whoops, Scott, are really kind of as we can see, starting to slow down even within just the first set of laps here tonight.
Yeah, I predict that they're going to get kind of wore down and turn into more of a jumping section.
And Oldenburg goes back for the lead. These guys have diced back and forth a couple times. It's going to be a good race as the white flag comes out. McElrath back to the inside, and they're bar to bar over the triple here, and Oldenburg can't make the triple.
Oldenburg misses the triple, and now McElrath's got a big gap running here on this final lap. That's some bar banging. I think that's exactly what they had in mind when they went to design this track and lay it out like this.
These riders don't need to push the issue because they've got a solid 7 seconds ahead of third place Savatgy. So they don't need to be bar banging with each other whenever they've got such a good lead, although they are racing for gate pick.
Yeah, here we go back into this last set of whoops. We got a rider off the side of the track. I don't know who that is. It might be Bracken Hall, one of our upfront runners earlier on in this race. But look, as you see here in this turn here, that left-hander, they've got a nice rut forming on the inside. That's usually not something you see in Supercross.
No, it isn't, Scott. So coming up to the checkered flag here, looks like our winner is going to be none other than the 28 of Shane McElrath. That's 2 in a row for him. And then great showing from Mitchell Oldenburg, our rider in second. Savatgy will come across in third, and he's second now. And fourth place, that's going to be Bradley Taft on the number 53 Rock River Yamaha.
Yeah, the local boy getting in there from Shawnee, Kansas. He spends a lot of time in California and out of the state, especially this time of the year, but that's great to see him there in fourth. That's a very good qualifying position.
Okay, so Scott, coming into the race, a lot of the internet pundits seemed to think that this track was going to suck and not provide for any good racing. Pause for 1 second. Hey, thanks for everybody joining. Just do us one single favor. Simply push that share button. Share the video. We just want to keep this thing growing, keep everybody coming back in and continue the likes, the shares, the comments. We appreciate everybody commenting. We'll go through and scroll through. Thank you for joining us. So Scott, okay. So the track itself, a lot, like I was saying, a lot of the internet pundits seem to think that it would provide for bad racing. So far, we've seen some of the best racing yet.
I would agree. I think this track layout is going to be great for racing. I think this season is going to be great for racing. I don't think you're going to have a lot. I think you're going to have multiple winners. I don't think you're going to have somebody get. You might have a guy go on a run for a couple of races, but I don't see anybody just running away with the series like Tomac did at the end of the year last year. But this track, the way the dirt is, makes a huge difference. That's the biggest part. These big bowl turns, these guys can rip these turns fast. I see where we're going to have great racing. I mean, when I think of Houston, I think of when Wyndham almost won until he sent it big. That's when I think of Houston. That's the race I think of. When Trey pulled off his win, I believe he was the one who won that weekend. And Wyndham and Trey were running 1-2, and Wyndham went big and crashed off the quad or something. And I think Trey pulled off the win that weekend.
Now the question is, can you remember what year that was?
2012.
We'll roll with 2012.
Yeah, 2012, 2013. I'm not really sure. Somewhere in there. When did Wyndham retire?
I mean,
don't know.
I'm not that great with recalling pro years. So
hey, one more thing before we get going back on this. Any of you guys at the Nitro Arena Cross race in Kansas City tonight, tell all of your friends to log on here, like us, share us, put it on there, especially because if you're at the race, I know you're not watching the race. So put your headphones in while you're watching Kevin Moranz and Adrian Galamba and Dustin Winters battle it out in the pro class there. Put your headphones in and listen to us talk about this race so you don't miss any of it.
Yeah, there was a lot of really good racing going on at the Nitro Arena Cross races here in Kansas City. So Nitro Arena Cross, for those that are not familiar with it, that are joining us from all over the world, we have there's a series here in the Midwest operated by Motorhead Events, and it's like a, 15 race series that really draws a lot of the next talent that will go into AMA Supercross and then into the Monster Energy Supercross series. And right now, it seems like our top three guys are Dustin Winter, Kevin Moranz, and it's hard to pick who the third guy would be. I know Adrian Galamba didn't have a very good night last night, but he's definitely training really hard and wants it. But I think that last night's results probably wouldn't.
He had a couple mishaps, some bad starts and some crashes, so that's really going to hold you back. But you really have the goalie brothers. You got Adam and Aaron, who have been Supercross guys. They've been Arena Cross guys we've raced them since we were kids, so they're still out there doing it, and they're running top three guys. I want to say Aaron or Adam, I don't know who it was, just swept down in Mississippi. So those guys are still doing it, and they're right there running with Kevin and Dustin.
So there's obviously a really deep talent pool that is racing here locally, and they're getting their feet wet before they go into the road to Supercross. So switching back to Supercross, I'm really interested in seeing. Okay, so in the 450 time qualifying, it appeared that Anderson, by his consistency, was the guy. So we're actually going to take a step back and listen to what Shane has to say here about his 250 heat win. Do you have volume for this? Volume it up. So, did you see his goggles?
Yeah.
Yeah, so so everybody that's watching the race or isn't watching the race rather, Shane just had his goggles with a full-on Tampax on his brow.
Well, you've got to keep that sweat out of your eyes, especially, you're riding Supercross. That's some serious shit. So you gotta have something in there to keep the sweat out of your eyes.
At a Loretta qualifier in 2005, Nick Adams and I had a hell of a battle, only to find out that he had sunscreen dripping down into his eyes, and that's why he was swerving me on the track. And he actually pulled me over after the race was over and said, "Hey, buddy, I'm sorry for swerving you. I couldn't see where I was going because he was squinting."
So, yeah, I believe it. I believe that happens. So now we're looking at this. The second 250 qualifiers getting ready to go. If you look here, they've got Christian Craig on screen, and his mechanic is revving the shit out of his 250F.
Well, whenever it's a Honda, you have to rev tune it up in order to get the bike warm.
Well, you got to make sure it runs. You don't want that thing to have any kinds of issues when you're getting ready to send the triple.
So the 30 card is up here at Monster Energy Supercross, NRG Stadium, Houston, Texas. 250SX heat number 2. We've seen the first set of riders go, and now the second set is about to go. A lot of guys, a lot of heavy hitters in this set of qualifying here, Scott.
Yeah, we've got. If you looked at the first qualifier, I was actually going to mention that and forgot. But you've got almost all your heavy hitters, your factory guys are in here. If you look at your top 6 guys, there have all have factory rides.
So the gate's down and they're into the first corner. It seems that the inside of the start is proving to be the spot to start from. Mitchell Harrison pulls the whole shot, and Cianciarulo works his way through the second corner. And last year's champion Justin Hill now moving up to third.
Yeah, so here we go into the whoops. They've all kind of spaced out a little bit. And we've got the Husqvarna here getting past. Here goes Hill on the inside.
Yeah, it's very tight going into that first corner and coming out of it, but yet a couple jumps through, they really space out. I guess it's pretty nerve-wracking going through there. So still we have... Oh, you want to hit the live timing button over there? All right, so still we've got Cianciarulo out front, Justin Hill in second, Mitchell Harrison in third. So those are your top 3 riders. As Christian Craig seems to put the pass on...
Chase Sexton.
Yeah, Chase Sexton and Mitchell Harrison are battling it out pretty bad. Where is Craig?
Craig, with that gnarly ankle injury from earlier this week, he's dropped way off the pace, or is way back on the gate. I know he got through practice, saved the second round, and is getting out there tonight just to get in the show and make it happen.
So Craig's currently in 8th, one of the heavy hitters of the series. Chase Sexton makes a pass on Mitchell Harrison. Mitchell Harrison, one of the newer riders to Monster Energy Supercross. On the Rockstar Husky team. He's seems to be the guy that's holding it down for the Rockstar team this year. And I noticed here in this second heat, we're not seeing guys quad through that rhythm section the way that we were in the first heat. Sky, is it because the track is already breaking down?
A big part of it could be that. I think a lot of it is some of the guys probably don't think it's the fastest line. There's a couple different options there, but the track is going to break down. The way this dirt is down in Houston, it is soft. It's going to wear down. And the 250Fs, it's just there's not a lot of guys hitting that rhythm anyways.
Yeah, and as you watch, you can see there's a lot of case marks, tire marks. A lot of guys are shorting some of those sections from the first heat. And I think that has carried over and maybe spooked some of the riders here in the second heat. It really looks like Sexton's got his whoop style down. Hill, maybe not so much. There are a lot of people that are saying that Hill is not comfortable on the Suzuki and didn't do that great in time qualifying earlier today. Chase Sexton now going to go to the inside and try to pass Hill through the whoop section here.
Yeah, Sexton was fast in practice. He qualified 5th, and he's looking even better in this heat race. I actually raced Chase Sexton earlier this year at Sunset Ridge, and the dude's unreal.
So Sexton did make the pass on Hill, so now we've got top 3, Cianciarulo, Sexton, Hill. Moving further back, Aaron Plessinger, who was last week's, he won his heat last week. Craig in 5th, followed shortly behind him is Dakota Alex, Kyle Chisholm, Phil Nicoletti, and Chase Marquier, the Oklahoma native, who sits 9th in the final transfer spot right now, 18 seconds behind the leader. Now, Plessinger's going to go the inside here. Scott, do you think that inside's going to pay off?
Yeah, I mean, obviously here you go. You see Plessinger just jump jump right past Hill. But I think this is more so Hill's just not going fast enough. A lot of people talk just going into the season, why would you leave Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki to go over to the Joe Gibbs Suzuki? Paycheck. I mean, obviously, why wouldn't you do it? I'd do it. Yeah, absolutely. And that bike's a good bike. He just seems to have some issues with it. And look at AC out front right now.
It may not necessarily be the bike. It could just be the weight of having the number one plate just isn't paying off for him.
Yeah, the number one plate is pretty heavy. But here we have Adam Cianciarillo out front running a 54.6 faster than our first heat, and he was fast all day. I would say tonight is his night to lose if he can't pull it together.
So Dakota Alex on the Rocky Mountain ATV MC KTM battling with Kyle Chisholm on the 5150 Energy Yamaha. Chisholm's, he's a veteran of the sport, and he has he's national number 11. That's his lifetime number. Kyle's
about jumps off the track.
Jumps off the track there. Maybe I should stop complimenting him. Kyle's an older guy. I believe that he's a year and a half older than I am, so he's 30 some odd years old, and Dakota Alex may be 20. So we have a wide age range here in the 250 class. So we're going to go back to the battle between Hill and Craig. Craig with the bum ankle, Hill on the Suzuki, and it seems to see that Craig's got the inside, yet Hill tucks under, seat bounces his way back into defending the position.
Hill, for being this much off the speed, look at him making this pass. He's got some issues of almost looking a little desperate hanging on here, because look, Craig with the bum ankle blitzes past in the whoops, and it makes you wonder if there's something bigger going on with Hill here.
He may just not be comfortable on that bike yet, or he may have the arm pump issues that people have been speaking about in the pits. Now, what I've noticed is on this track, we're seeing a lot of really tight cornering action, and I think that's because we're seeing so much tight racing together where the lines are kind of not flowing very much because there's so much opportunity for these guys to pack together.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with you on not being comfortable on the bike. The guy's a professional athlete. He's getting a professional athlete paycheck, and that bike is custom built to him. What's going on is upstairs in between the ears, and he's just not putting it together. That number one plate, it's just heavy.
Yeah, heavy is the head that wears the crown, obviously, and it's showing here as Hill's dropped back to fifth, and he was within the top two off the start. Man, I'm just gonna say it, he's terrible through the whoops. I think there's something else going on, than the motorcycle. That does look like fatigue or arm pump whenever you're going that much slower through the whoops than the competitors, that you should be leading.
Yeah, look, you got Adam out front who just looks on rails tonight, running away, coming through the sand section, coming around into the main rhythm here, and not making any big leaps right now, just on the final lap, going to bring it around and get it in, and he's just heads and tails above everyone, running 6.6 seconds ahead.
Are those the boots that you just got, by the way?
Those boots, that whole setup, except for the helmet, is sitting on my kitchen table right now.
Beautiful. Adam Cianciarillo from New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Looks like he's going to come around and take the inside here. I like that inside line as he steps up in, triples, and he's going to triple again and step out into the start lane, and one more corner to go before the checkered flag. Followed 7.5 seconds behind is Chase Sexton. Cianciarillo takes the win. 250SX heat number 2, Monster Energy Supercross here in Houston.
Yeah, if you guys notice, right before that last set of whoops, that second main rhythm section there, the second line, they're jumping way out into the start straightaway off of that last little double. And right there is where you're going to make a lot of time. Oldenburg made time up there, and Cianciarillo's doing it, so he's clearly going to make more time.
So our qualifying riders out of heat number 2 are Cianciarillo, Sexton, Plessinger, Craig, Hill, Alex, Chisholm, Nicoletti, and the last one, Mitchell Harrison, who dropped back after pulling. I believe that he was the one that pulled the whole shot.
Well, being the new guy, you could easily get a little winded, get a little arm pump running up front with the big guys, and that can easily make you drop back.
Easily.
Justin Heft finishing the 10th, missing it by 1. He is the kind of the team captain over there at Ryan Hughes' new racetrack Supercross team.
I wasn't actually aware that he was on the Yamaha team. So is that, no, hold on. Is that the IB Corp team also?
Yes, it is also. So IB Corp, Racetrack Supercross, that's their Instagram. But they've got a full series on YouTube. And they're filling 3 riders. They've got Justin Heft. They've got Michael Lieb, who is the one who won the spot. And they've got Martin Castello. Is it Castello?
Castello, maybe?
Whatever it is. I don't know. But they put that team together. Ryan Hughes, Twisted Development is doing the motors on their bikes, and they're just making it happen. They've got some Yamaha support, and they wanted to give a guy a couple. They basically want to give some guys a tryout, and Michael Lieb won the spot.
Yeah, these are some really good looking Yamahas. I'm kind of curious and trying to figure out what IB Corp is. If I can do a little. Googling here, I'm not quite sure. So since that's Ryan Hughes' team, do you take Rhino Power supplements, Scott?
I have before, but I'm not a sponsored athlete, and I do not use all of their products. I do. I have used some of them before, and I have a lot of people, probably even some of the people here watching live that have used their stuff or do use their stuff all the time. Good product, good quality stuff from what I've used and what I've tried, but I haven't picked up a full ride yet, so I haven't jumped on the bandwagon.
Well, it appears that IB Corp. I don't know. See, this is one of the problems with having no Instagram. Now I have to do some Googling and try to figure out where IB Corp is based out of and what it is exactly.
I had to do that with the new Monster Energy Yamaha sponsor, Niche Clothing. It's a company that's not even live yet. It's a new, I guess the website doesn't even have anything you can go buy on it, and they're sponsoring the Factory Yamaha team. I had to do a little research there because I didn't even know what it was. Pretty funny to see all that. What, you got some comments on here? What are you looking at, Jeff?
Yeah, just checking out the comments, seeing who's joined us. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We really appreciate it. We're real close to hitting 100 viewers. So as you guys can see, we're up to 85 there. If you can hit that share button, by all means, hit that share button. That would be huge to hit 100 viewers at one time. That'd be really badass. So. Okay, after this weekend in Houston, we return back to the West Coast for the second race at Anaheim. And, I'm curious. My main question is, I'm really curious to see if the dirt in Anaheim proves to be the same that it was last weekend in round 1. Now, I know that they store the dirt on site and facility. Outside of the facility, which for those of you that don't know, they actually take all of the dirt. They've got a giant hole in the parking lot at Angel Stadium. Oh, let's tune over to listen to Cincerillo.
Looking to capitalize on that today. A lot of guys are running good. You saw Shane kill that heat. My teammate Joey Sabachi, he's doing really well too. So hopefully we can put the Monster Energy Plus Kawasaki up on the top of the box. I'm having a lot of fun here in Houston. Fans are great. So we'll get it done. We will
check out that gear. Did you see that gear?
Yeah, that's good looking gear he's got on. Let's see. Do you happen to know somewhere someone could go and buy that Fox gear that he just had on?
If you want to get the gear that he's got that I've got sitting on my kitchen table, you can go over to Donnell's Motorcycles. Pick it up there. Where else can you go, Jeff?
You can go to Freedom Cycles in Grandview. Also, freedomcyclesinc.com.
Yeah, get on there. Check it out. I mean, it's the best stuff. I wore it a long time ago. I got away from it. I'm back to it now. It's heads and shoulders above everything else. I don't care what you're wearing. Fox, Shift. It's better than all of that. It's my opinion. I've been doing this a long time, and it holds up better. And it's just a really good product.
I'm just gonna say, so we are using the nets in some of these corners here at Supercross. Now, this is a prototype system that they're just started with this year. Daniel Blair's talking about it, and Daniel's not necessarily the tallest guy, but to put it into perspective, I believe that berm right behind him is about 5.5 to 6 feet tall, which Supercross has been regulated to to, for insurance reasons, they've been regulated to cap the berms in the last however many years at 3.5 to 4 feet tall on all of the corners. And now the deal is that they've got the nets, and the doubled up tough block, they can build the corners a little bit taller. So 450SX heat number 1's getting ready to fire off. 30-second board has gone up for those of you that are trying to cue the live feed. If your ISP is lagged, then we're getting ready to go now. So Ken Roczen, obviously one of the bigger stories of the year, coming back from that hellacious arm injury. He's going to be the number 1 qualifier tonight. And Seeley, Martin, Tickle, Freeze, Grant, LeMay, Cunningham, Reed, Tedder, to name a few of the guys that have popped into this heat here. As the guys are looking down at the gate, the revs are going up. And we are off into turn number 1. Inside, Josh Grant. Followed right behind him are 3 Honda riders. He's got a hell of a lot of a Honda pit right behind him. Grant moves outside, and Roczen, who is in the lead now once again.
Man, I know that makes me happy to see a lot of red up front. I don't know about you, Jeff, but you look, Ken Roczen, I mean, they just showed a shot of him right before this gate took off. He looked so much more focused just in that race than he did at any of the races last week. They zoomed in on him at Anaheim, and you could just see he was nervous getting ready to take off. He had bad starts, and he rode timid for the first couple laps, but now we see him here getting off to a great start.
And Roczen's always been really good in time qualifying, so he's almost the expected guy to pull the heater out. But his teammate right behind him, also on the factory Honda, Cole Seeley, is cutting him no slack, and it would not surprise me to see Seeley actually pass Roczen given a couple laps in.
Yeah, Seeley just made a little mistake there in the sand, but man, I'll tell you what, I don't in this big boy class, the 450 class, I don't see anybody getting crazy. Doing something that's crazy faster than anybody else. I think these guys are going to be pretty equal all night. There's no big jump. There's nothing that's really going to separate these guys other than, being perfect.
So, conversely, though, McElrath did add that the track is extremely technical. Now, last weekend, they definitely seemed to have the track almost tamed down for Monster Energy Supercross standards. This weekend, a little more technical, longer sections. And in these longer sections, Scott, I mean, is it not that the riders are almost, I mean, if you're not prepared for it, or you catch, a rut or have a slip, you hold your breath for longer in these longer rhythm sections?
Yeah, you do, but it depends on what the rhythm is. Some of these rhythms, they're smaller. I mean, look at Cole Seeley there. He's not making any big jumps where he's going to have a chance to catch his breath anyways. But as you see, they're jumping in and out of these on-offs or tripling off like Cole Seeley just did. There's big ruts down in there. There's holes in there. And something just like that's what bit Ken Roczen last year at Anaheim 3.
So our top 5 with 3 and 45 seconds to go is Roczen, Seeley, Grant, Tickle, and Freeze. Good showing from Vince Freeze, also a Missouri native. Followed closely by Ben LeMay, the Alaskan. Ben on the 907 Honda Privateer ride, who was racing Amsoil Arena Cross last year. And I don't know that Ben has said if he's going to race 250SX on the East Coast, or if he's going to stay straight 450. In my opinion, with his good showings, he should stay in the 450 class.
Well, he's going to make more money there. Another thing I want to point out, Bubba Pauly running 11th. He's kind of another local boy, does some racing here in Kansas City, across Missouri. I believe he's actually from Illinois, but we'll just call it St. Louis. And he's running an 11th. And now that there's no semis in qualifying, he just needs to get into that top 9 to get into the night show.
So we're watching Alex Martin here pass Alex Ray on the number 91 Yamaha. They're going back and forth, and right behind them on the HEP Motorsports Suzuki is Kyle Cunningham out of Texas. So Cunningham, as you saw coming into the whoops there, did not look super comfortable, and I think that the whoops are already starting to cup out in a way that, I mean, it is going to be the telltale sign of separating the men from the boys.
Yeah, I saw that Alex not Alex Martin. Jeremy Martin here had a big crash in practice, but it's good to see that he's back up here running in qualifying position and making it happen in his brief little stint here with Geico Honda on the 450.
So I just want to take a second here and say, utmost respect for Ralph Shaheen and Jeff Emig, because I'll say this is extremely hard to do.
I have absolutely know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and so whenever I say Alex Martin, you don't even hear yourself saying it. So props to those guys. We're just here to give our core audience more of something to tune into, so then you guys can hear our perspective on it. So we're watching Brock Tickle and the 33, who's holding it down for Monster Energy Kawasaki, the lone Kawasaki and factory Kawasaki entry. Looks like Tomac. I'm seeing the Kawasaki that Tickle's going to jump to the inside of Grant. Again, it is really hard to do this and say this cleanly. I mean, we miss Mike Garrison real bad right now. We could use him back in the booth. He is the anchor that holds down the Race Companion show.
I was at the Arena Cross today, walking the pits, watching some amateur racing, that kind of thing. And I was talking about doing this podcast tonight, and all I got were compliments on Mike Garrison. Nothing about you, by the way. They didn't say shit about you.
Nobody said one thing.
All they did was talk about how good Mike was at race reporting and how good he could do it, and he might as well take Ralph's job right now.
Well, he's the star of the show for sure. So Roczen still coming across with 30-some-odd seconds left, followed by Seeley, Tickle, Grant, and Freeze. Not much has changed. Only Tickle has passed Grant. So our top 5 maintains around the same. Kind of seems to be a rank-and-file race, and again, in my opinion, that's because the track's gnarly, and we've got plenty of racing left to do. I mean, this is for gate pick. The money and the points are not on the line here.
This isn't something you've seen very much lately in the last couple of years. But if you look here in your top 5, you've got 3 Hondas in the top 5. 2 are which factory Hondas, and I don't know if Vince is on a factory Honda or not over there. I know they've got Honda support, but I don't know if he's actually on a factory Honda like his teammate Justin Brayton is.
2 to go. Roczen takes the white flag now. Final lap. He's got 0.8 seconds above his teammate Seeley. Seeley's right behind him. Any slip by Roczen or getting hung up by a lapper, and Seeley's gonna, Seeley will easily pass Roczen, so he's got to stay mistake free. As we see some of the lap riders shifting off to the left side of the track, the main line is more on the right. They're taking the blue flag. This is a hell of a race coming into the last lap between these teammates.
I mean, Cole has really closed up on him right on the edge of the track. There it comes in, trying to cut underneath it. We got a Suzuki right in the way that holds up Cole for just a second, but he's staying right on it, coming after Roczen. They're gonna have 2 sections to go here?
Yeah, I don't think that Dustin Pipes on that HEP Suzuki really knew that these Honda boys were right behind him. Cole could be a real dickhead and stick it in on his roommate, but teammate, but I don't think that he wants to do that. So,
are you still talking about Supercross racing?
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
That was... Yeah, wow. Again, I'm not even listening to myself. I'm just saying what I see on the TV. Okay, so Roczen takes the checkers. Seeley right behind him. And looks like the 3rd place qualifier is going to be Brock Tickle.
Yeah, Brock Tickle on the KTM deal, running that new Alpine Star gear on the Baker's Factory program. And pretty impressive to see him ride that well up front.
So running through the rest, after Tickle in 3rd, Grant, Freeze, Martin, LeMay, Ray, and Cunningham. And Bisceglia is going to move on to the last chance qualifier. So the 450 class is back to 2 heats and an LCQ. Are you in favor of that?
Yes and no, all at the same time. Well, I want to make a quick little jab here, Jeff. There's 5 Hondas in the top 10.
And 1 KTM in the top 3.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so just a little jab there. Man, you know what? Yes and no. The thing is I like it because it kind of makes sense. That gives guys more of an opportunity. What I don't like is it kind of takes away some of the racing. It takes away gate drops. It takes away for the fans if you are at the stadium, if you're sitting there. But I think it makes sense based on what they're doing at the other races, the other rounds, with the 3 main events, the extended main events that they're going to have. I don't even know what races have. To be honest, I don't even know how this whole new program works. But now they've gone backwards with the 2 heats and LCQ. I'm just glad that they're taking more guys out of the LCQ nowadays.
4 as opposed to 2.
Right. Yeah. So now, and they've opened up the gates to 22 guys instead of 20.
Right. I'm a fan of it. I like the idea of it. It kind of speeds things up with the program. One of my gripes, and it had nothing to do with the television package, is that the races took so long to air because we had two additional races to run, and it really kind of bogged things down. And I understand the theory behind why they went back to the semi racing, but that whenever the semis were what they were, that was before live television, so it was kind of hard, or it was actually easier for the production company at the time, ESPN, for them to put all of that package together and just show the semi highlights. Now with a live television package on FS1, it's easier to go with this 3 race per class format to qualify into the main. So, I mean, I personally, I'm a fan of it. I don't know, maybe you guys can comment on the FB live feed. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get some comments and see how you guys, say what you like. Are you into the new format or the old format? Give us some feedback here.
Yeah, along with that, comment on who looks better. We're both in red. We both have beards, but clearly one of us is going to be looking better than the other. He's flipping the hat forward, so we're getting serious. Raised on fumes.
That's right. You can pick up this hat at none other than any of your authorized Fox Racing dealers, and if they don't have it in stock, tell them to order it.
Hey guys, make sure you are sharing and liking and telling everyone you're sitting next to, or texting or Instagramming, that you are watching us live on here. We're up to about 75 guys, kind of goes up and down, guys and gals, sorry. But make sure you're telling everyone to watch it. Even if they're not watching it, just click it on their phone and set it down. I don't even care. Just get more numbers
sneaky,
on there.
Yeah, get sneaky. Also, take a second and go to the Innovative MX Instagram and Twitter, Facebook, the .com, the whole deal. That's Scott's program. Scott's a professional motocross coach. Check him out. He's got a lot to say. He's got a good eye for helping riders and a really good roster of Midwest amateur riders underneath you. So FS1 is going to come back on, and we're going to see or listen to what it is that Roczen had to say after his heat win. Nope, hold on.
Just kidding. Just kidding. But as you can see, he's also wearing the new Fox gear.
Shocking.
Big box on this recovery.
Stop it, Ralph. We can't. We're kind of running a fine line here.
Oh, it's here. It's only my third start if you count the heat races, and it's good to get a whole shot. We've been working on a bunch of things, so it's good to get a win. Stoked. The track's really tacky. It's going to be good tonight. And all in all, my team HSC Honda, they've been great. We've been having a lot of fun, and this is only the second race of May to come, so I'm having a blast out here.
Well, tomorrow, the NFL play.
He looks so much more comfortable already compared to last week at Anaheim. I mean, obviously, he's got a week under his belt, and he got more comfortable every lap last week, but he already looks even better.
So, okay, let's see.
And I'm talking about his riding, by the way.
I'm with you. So Jesse Anderson says he likes the racing, so he misses the semis. And, I guess I'm with you. Like, I liked being able to watch, more racing. But on the other hand, I still fast forwarded through a lot of it. So how about this? This is a pretty big story of Malcolm Stewart coming back into Supercross after being totally absent after winning his 250SX regional championship. He just disappeared because he couldn't find a ride. He wanted to move up to the 450 class, couldn't get it done. Now here he is back in Monster Energy Supercross for the first time, filling in for Justin Bogle.
Although he clearly shot himself in the foot after he won that Supercross title. He didn't get a ride because he didn't want to ride outdoors or didn't go ride outdoors.
On the other hand, if you specialize at something, can you blame the guy?
Absolutely. He hasn't earned it. He hasn't earned it at all. He is a lights rider. He has one Supercross title. That's it. He has to go earn his spot if he wants to get a 450 ride, a 450 rider paycheck, and he needs to ride outdoors. We're all there. You didn't see Jason Anderson just riding one or the other, did you?
Well, no, but he was contractually obligated to do that regardless. Malcolm's ride did not go through the outdoor season on the Geico Honda.
Regardless, it's good to see him on the gate. The fans love it. It's great media coverage, great stuff to talk about. Everybody still wants to know where his brother's at. But here we go, getting ready to start the second heat race with Anderson, your fastest qualifier, your points leader, and the crowd favorite, Chad Reed. We even have Oklahoma boy Chad Cook making his first race of the year.
Yeah, he's submitting from the plus 35 class out of Oklahoma. So Anderson with the whole shot, Malcolm Stewart right behind him. Good. I love to see it. He's going to drop back to fourth, and a couple guys are going to dice in front of him. That's a really dicey corner. Anderson jumped out to a heavy lead. Barsha right behind him with Baggett putting it down on Musquin, and here comes Weston Pike, the muscle man, trying to work his way through the top five.
Yeah, Pike's really found some speed this year. It's great to see Barsha's finally stepping up to the plate here and following everything up. But look at these guys leap into the start straightaway on both of those sections that come across that way, using that 450 power to jump way out there. Here we are across the first line. We've got Anderson, Barsha, and Baggett. Baggett misses the triple, and Pike gets right up next to him.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody launch off of a triple or a double and then launch off of that single out into the next section as far as Baggett just did. That was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen as far as commitment. So we're starting to notice the lines are developing further in, and the guys are coming a little bit into the tighter, into the turns. That's going to make getting through these rhythm sections, doing those triples and quads a little bit harder.
Yeah, these coming into the turns. I mean, look at this whoop section right here coming through here into this double. There's ruts all over the faces of these jumps, all over the whoops, and down in the valleys of these jumps. There's just tons of ruts. Line selection, these guys have to be precise. And here we've got Justin Brayton coming to the frame a little bit. Your fifth fastest qualifier out of Iowa.
We were running bar to bar there between Brayton, Stewart, and our points leader Marvin Musquin, all in there together. This is really good racing, real tight. I'm seeing a lot of opportunities for guys to dice back and forth. Anderson's still our leader, 4 minutes to go. Barsha 2 seconds behind him. Pike a second and a half behind Barsha, followed by Baggett and Musquin for your top five. Baggett trying to put the pass on Pike, and it looks like he's going to triple through the rhythm section to get past him.
Yeah, Baggett really made the leap there by going triple off of that tabletop and then doubling way out into the straightaway. But as he has a little mistake there in the whoops, foot off the foot peg, bobbles a little bit, doesn't skip a beat, pulls the tear off, and he's back going again. But the jumps here are rutting up. They're getting rough and launching out into that start straightaway. You can see the holes starting to develop where these guys are landing and then instantly getting on the brakes. But it's fast. He gapped Pike right there already.
Yeah, Baggett's definitely taking some creative lines, especially through the whoops. It seems like coming into that finish line section that those whoops are really getting cupped out in the middle. And looks like, I don't know who that was laying down on the track there. Looked like he took a hard hit, though. Could have been Brayton or Entignap. I'm not quite sure. Still, Anderson out front, Barsha in second. 3 minutes to go. 450 heat number 2. Track's definitely running up. I would expect that the lap times, okay, so Anderson set the best with a 54.3, which is still a hell of a lap time, but that's what the 250 guy, Sensorillo, was running. So it does show you that even with more power, the 450s are definitely slowing down from the way the track was initially.
Yeah, look here, Marvin running fifth and not making any ground, really. He's just kind of staying in the same spot, still launching out off of there, but everybody else is too. I've seen some spots here where Brayton is closing in on him, and then they kind of gap a little bit, but here we have Brayton on the inside getting ready to make the pass on your points leader.
I can't believe my eyes. Musquin seems to be extremely uncomfortable today. He's not, didn't get a good start, is not being aggressive. I mean, Stewart straight past him in the whoops. What do you think's going on with Marvin?
Well, this is kind of a Marvin Musquin, Eli Tomac situation. The only guys who can beat them are themselves. The only guy that can beat Eli Tomac on his best day is Eli Tomac, just like you saw last week. And Marvin right here on the edge of the track, he's just not in it right now, whether it's because he had a bad qualifying, whatever. He's not focused like he's been, like we saw at Monster Cup, where he was locked in to take all 3 main events. And it looks like maybe, did Marvin go down here? Marvin down in the whoops, your points leader down in the whoops with a little bit of shoulder pain here, letting everybody go by. If he doesn't get up and get something going, he's going to be out of this main event.
Yeah, Marvin's definitely got another shoulder injury. Let's hope that. How crazy would it be if our two top guys were out with shoulder injuries for the rest of the night?
And here he is. He's going off the track. He's going to need some medic help. It looks like his shoulder's out of place.
Yeah,
it's out.
It's
just
out. You can
there.
tell by how much it's dropped. Oh, that's hard to watch. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So he actually quadded into the whoops and then tried to triple again to only touch twice, and just came up a little short and took a good slam on that shoulder, and it popped backwards on his left shoulder. Yeah, I don't really agree. I don't think that was a good decision for him to try to jump through those whoops like that.
Well, Marvin, even being your points leader, his weak spot is the whoops. It always has been his whole Supercross career. I don't know if it's because he's not from America or whatever you want to say, and just doesn't have the history of riding it, but he clearly jumped in like he does through most of the time in the whoop sections. He turns them into a jump section, which is, it's not always the fastest. Sometimes it's the slowest. The way this whoop section is, you can't jump through it like that. It just doesn't do you any good. There's no doubt about that.
Well, he's remounted on the motorcycle, and it looks like he's going to pull off and retire for the race and call it a race just right now. Anderson out front, 15 seconds to go left before the white flag comes out if he should cross the finish line. So we're watching Marvin and Mathilde talk here. So Anderson, Barsha, Baggett, Pike, Brayton, Webb, Stewart, Reed, and Adam Enoch-Knapp, who is going to be the lucky dog to go in after Musquin has dropped out. He's sitting in the 9th place, last spot to qualify into the main. White flags come out. Final lap, Anderson with a 5.5 second lead. Baggett and Barsha fairly close together. The real battle is between Pike and Brayton, only 0.2 of a second apart. The sand section is starting to develop a lot of lines here, Scott, and then coming into that first corner where the guys come in off of the start. This section is totally different than it was even in the 250SX heats.
Yeah, this track is going to change all night long. You can still see Anderson is still tripling off of that and then jumping out into the start area. But look at this angles. Well, they don't show it here, but if you're looking at this, I mean, these whoops, these turns, these jump faces, they are rutted up. They're rough. They're going to have kickers in them. I mean, look, Anderson's cutting over the inside rut that's getting dug up. That's not something you see a lot of times on a Supercross track.
Quick shout out to the guy on the Yamaha that Anderson just lapped. That's Cheyenne Harmon, a Texas boy. He's a good friend of mine. Anderson takes the win. Seemed to be a pretty easy win for him. And
start to finish out front with Barsha taking the 2nd spot on his fill-in ride. Do you think they're going to extend that?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how Millsap's recovery goes, or they may field a 3rd rider. We'll see as the year goes on. So that's kind of been a topic, is the fill-in rider. So not only Barsha, but Stewart. I mean, two of the bigger names in our sport are on temp rides right now. What do you think of like the state of the 450 class? Is it that the sport doesn't have enough money, or is it just that it's a product of only having 22 men in the main?
I would say it's a little bit of both of those. You've got a little bit of where the sport doesn't have enough money, but I would say some of that is because it's not getting to where it needs to go. I think I want to say Feld might be hanging on to a little bit. Now this is all opinion. I'm not anybody, but I want to say the money's probably not getting exactly where it needs to go. But if you could look at guys like Josh Grant got back into the factory world on a fill-in ride, and now he's got a 2-year contract.
Well, I mean, it definitely as we saw, the same thing happened with Dean Wilson last year, going to the races on the privateer Yamaha out of the back of a van, which has turned into riding for Factory Husky. So obviously the teams are taking note. And Supercross is inherently dangerous. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be crashes. Obviously, we just saw one of the best in the sport eat it in the whoops. So these kind of things, they happen. And yeah, there are going to be guys that, you could almost call opportunists who are just waiting for other guys to fall out.
I would say, hey, so why don't on comments here, tell us who you think needs to have the next fill-in ride. Say Tomac's out for the season. Say whatever it is, let's just pretend he's going to be out for 5 races. Who do you think deserves that spot? Go ahead and tell us in the comments. Because there's a handful of guys out there that have the speed but don't have the opportunity.
That's a really good question. And well, let me just ask you, okay? Now, let's say JGR fields a third rider and they keep Stewart. Let's say that Yamaha fields a third rider and they keep Barcia. Who does that lead ride of the? I mean, Reed. I mean, or is Reed? Is he in with his Husky and Boost Mobile? What's
Well, Reed's got his own thing going. I think Reed's trying to get to 22 seasons. I think you're going to see Reed. I think this is his 21st season. I think you're going to see him one more time. I think he can compete. I don't know if he's got what it is to win, and I don't know exactly why. Part of it, he's digging himself out of a hole right now by being hurt. He's got good bikes. There's no doubt about that. And you could see him going. I don't see him taking a fill-in ride. He wants his deal.
Yeah.
He wants his program, his way, his family, his mechanic, and I don't think he's just going to go jump on something else. He's been in it too long. He's got his thing going, and that's all there is to it. You got Adam Endicnap here. I think he's got a little bit of Honda support, or at least over the last year or so he has. You got a couple different guys out there. I mean, who do you think's sitting on the couch right now not racing?
That's the thing is, as far as I'm concerned, they're all there. If I was just going to pick a name out of a hat, honestly, we've got some of the Canadian national motocross racers that might be available, or we could even pull internationally from Australia because they're done with their Supercross season. Now they are in their outdoor national season, but I'm pretty sure that if they could pull somebody from over there, that they would if they needed to.
Well, or you've got your AMA AMSOIL Arena Cross Series, where you could pull some guys out of there. You got Gavin Faith, wins the first round, but he's kind of Kawasaki's guy to go win that.
Yeah, I thought that Gavin Faith was on Hondas.
He is in Australia, not when he's...
Okay,
got Australia
it.
only.
Got it, yeah. Thank you. So, I don't think that Faith would drop out of the AMSOIL series to go race Supercross on a 450. That's a really tall order, especially for somebody that's, getting paid so well to race Arena Cross.
What about Tyler Bowers, your LCQ winner from last week, who used to be, a previous factory Cowie guy?
I didn't think about that. Bowers is on Privateer Kawasaki right now.
Yeah, and he's wearing 7.
So I would say that
I don't know what that has to do with anything, actually. I don't know why.
Thank you for that.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I guess that that he would be the guy for the job as the obvious shoe-in.
Yeah, so we're going to get back to racing here. Well, we've got an LCQ to go, but the biggest shakeup of the night, let's talk about that for a second. We've got Eli Tomac, your guy that won, did he win 9 races last year?
Stand by. We're going to listen to Anderson go on about his heat win.
Victory.
And stand by.
Get that bottle right. Hold the bottle right.
I feel just solid out there. My Rockstar Energy Racing Husqvarna team has been behind me, and we've had some ups and downs, and I feel like we're pulling it together. So this track here in Houston, those whoops are brutal. It's gonna get rutted. It's gonna get rough, but I'm excited for the challenge and gonna put it up front and battle for that win all night. So ready and excited to get after it.
I'd like to get some more flavor out of Jason than just that. But on the other hand, I think they only give him like 15 seconds.
Yeah, let's let him get to them. Let's let him win a main first.
And he can do a moose scan and talk for 5.5 minutes.
By the way, did he win with his jersey tucked in? Do you think that's part of his new deal with Alpine? You would know, Mr. Hashtag untucked for the win. I am always tucked in. Always.
Have you ever considered just untucking the
Absolutely
back?
Not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, because you claim that you sit on your jersey.
I sit entirely too much.
Yeah. So whenever I'm riding, I keep my jersey completely untucked front and back. It's more, dude, I'm telling you, it makes a difference, especially at like some of the Missouri State races that have the sawdust in the track. What happens is that sawdust goes into the jersey and then packs up right here around the belt area, and then you get some chafing, and I'm not about that life, bro.
Bro, we're not even going to go there. So let's get back to what we were talking about just a minute ago. We were talking about fill-in riders. Nick made a comment on here about bringing up a lights rider to race. Bring somebody up for a fill-in ride. Say Marvin's out. Are they going to pull somebody from Troy Lee KTM up to ride the 450? I don't think so. Maybe if you've got somebody kind of having a rough season and contract contract means they have to fill that spot and put somebody on it, but I don't think so. They're already they've got Brock Tickle, who's I think he was third in his heat already. I don't see any of that being an issue. I don't see any of them bringing the lights guys up because the lights class is so open for a win. I think anybody can win at any time in the lights class. I don't think they're going to pull somebody up out of that when they've got a chance to win a race.
Probably not. And again, that's the hard part is that these guys, they signed contracts to race in the 250 class. They signed a contract to race the East Coast. They signed a contract to race the West Coast. So to bring someone up, I guess it really depends on what race it is, where it's at. So yeah, if we're on the West Coast, they could bring a 450 or a 250 rider up. Example given, Jeremy Martin riding, the Geico live read factory Honda.
Yeah, they could easily bring somebody up like that going on to the East Coast, but they're not going to, or bringing in an East Coast rider over to that. But I'd say it just kind of depends on what happens and how bad the injuries are going to be. And I think we'll have Tomac back in a week, and Marvin. We don't know what's going to happen. We'll have to see. But that is a big shakeup for the night with both of your top dogs are having issues.
Well, I guess it goes to show you that. The fastest rider on the track doesn't always win, and that's hook, line, and sinker on that analogy. That we have both. Obviously, Tomac's not lining up for the main, and then the Marvin Musquin has to go to the LCQ.
Right, yeah. It's not often that you see a factory guy in the LCQ. Remember, Vancouver, Toronto, back when Villapoto was racing, he didn't even make the main because he pulled off in his semi. He crashed in the semi on the first turn, pulled off, didn't finish the race, and then went into the LCQ, crashed in the LCQ, got up, and didn't qualify because he didn't make it because the LCQ's that wide open. Can
you imagine how humiliating that would be?
Yeah, as the points leader, just being the guy, and then you're hitting the showers before the mains hit the track.
I doubt he even watched the races. Maybe he did. I don't know.
I don't think he'd watch the races.
Yeah.
Period.
So that's pretty cool. Here in Kansas City, Advantage Power Sports just had a TV which is underneath the Freedom Cycles canopy. So there's 3 dealerships. It's Freedom Cycles, Advantage Power Sports, and Warrensburg Cycles are all 3 under the Freedom Cycles Inc. Family of dealerships. And whether it's Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha, KTM, Husky, the Can-Am, Polaris, Bombardier, the full range at one of those 3 dealerships based around the Kansas City area, you're going to be able to pick up whatever it is that you're looking to buy. So, Scott, the expanded metal gates, we talked about it a little bit last week, and we got Mike's opinion. Now I'm curious to know what you think.
Well, I have one in the back of my truck right now.
I didn't know that.
AT Industrial Sheet Metal. Check them out on Facebook. They're on Twitter. That's actually where I work.
I think that the subtitle of this episode is going to be shameless name dropping.
Yeah. Sure, why not? Anyways, I had my sheet metal shop. The guys, I got the dimensions when I was down in Minios.
Okay.
And I gave it to my guys. They built it exactly like what these guys are using. I have yet to use it here. I used it in Minios. That's obviously what everybody started on. It was a big change for me. It is 100% traction, and it is all going forward all the time. Your tire pressure is a little bit different. Your technique, a lot of part, is still the same. There is still technique to it. It does not by any means take anything away from the sport. I think it changes some of the safety aspect of it, as far as you're putting more riders at the first turn at a higher speed at the same time.
Okay, that's a fair thing to say.
So I think that takes some of it away. I don't think it takes technique side away. I just think it makes things hit a lot harder and a lot faster. I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I'm pretty good at starts.
Scott is an excellent starter.
And I could not figure it out all week long at Minios. And I knew what to do. I just couldn't figure it out. Not enough practice. It's brand new. Maybe it was in my head, whatever. But now I've got one. I got it for all my kids that we're training with. And, obviously there's not that many tracks that have them, but it's something we can play with and have fun and pretend like we're at Supercross racing. But I think it's good and bad. I think it's great that it's bringing changes to the sport. I don't know if it's actually that big of a change. I know it's not the best deal for Dunlop. That's for sure, because these guys are getting, you know, on the amateur side, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it for amateur riders. The sport is as expensive as it is already. And now you and I buy tires,
right?
$110 a tire, rear tire.
Yeah.
Now you're going through more tires because you're starting on metal starts.
Yeah.
It might be, 4 starts a weekend or whatever, but still, it's just you're starting on, a tread plate basically, and you get 100% traction, and it's going to wear tires out more. Your pros, they're getting free tires from Dunlop. They're not having any kind of issues like that. You know what I mean? So Dunlop's kind of losing on that deal right there. But as far as on the amateur side, I think it's cool. I think it's neat, something to play on. But I don't think there's any reason kids need to be buying that many tires running on starting grades. The other part is at the Supercross level. I could just keep going on. I guess.
Go. Yeah.
So the Supercross level. I mean, we're doing what, 8 starts a night?
Yeah.
Something like that. 8. If your 50, your KTM Junior Challenge doesn't really count, but you got 8 starts. That's not really packing the gate in. I got photos on my phone from me doing starts. The gate. I mean, on an amateur national, Mini O's, the biggest one you got, the most rider turnout. The gate, all the dirt coming off the track is going right back into the gate, and it's packing in the dirt. It's packing in the gate, and so you're trying to scrape it out. If it rains, it's muddy, and it's just kind of a pain in the ass at the amateur level because you're running so many starts. You run 6, say you got a 30 rider. I mean, you're running 60 starts, on that as well. So you've got a lot of dirt going back into the gate that you've got to broom off or get out of the way.
Okay. So just like last weekend, we're actually going to take a little bit of an intermission. Be sure to watch the LCQs here on FS1 and then tune back in. So 250SX main starts at 8:50 local time. So we're going to jump back in about 30 minutes. Right now it's 8:15 Central Standard Time. So we're going to come back on air 5 minutes before the 250SX main. And again, the same thing. Make sure that you have post notifications turned on. We will be broadcasting right here again on FB Live. Check it out. Just stay tuned. We just need to take a little bit of break, refresh, and we will be back for the 250SX main. I'm Jeff Crutcher. This is Scott Gebkin. We're here. Over the Bars podcast, Race Companion, episode number 2 from Houston for Monster Energy Supercross. Give us a like, share, comment, tell your friends, whatever it is. We hope to see everybody back. We'll be back in 30 minutes. Thanks.
Whoops, we got a little technical difficulty here.
Everybody behind me, Hammer. Everybody. I'm speechless right now. Thank you so much.
Third career win. So he has been on top of the box 2 times before this. It's good to see him excited. He acts like he's never won one before, which is, in my opinion, that's a good way to be. So Plessinger, Savacci, Sexton, McElrath, and Craig, your top 5. Oldenburg made a good bid towards the end of the race, but just couldn't keep his forward momentum going. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how the points shake down. And now let's listen to Savacci.
Look at that good-looking Fox gear he's got on there. Plug it all day.
Yeah, beautiful. And
it's good. Obviously, we always want to win, but I think if there's one thing I learned last year, some nights you don't got it. And hats off to Aaron. He rode great. Those long legs, I'm a little jealous. He gets around this a little bit easier than I do, but
I don't think you're typing.
We were second, and
Oh,
I was doing this quad that I didn't need to be doing, and ended up crashing and going from second to I think 8th. So, it's 4th last weekend, second this weekend.
Look at
Could've
that
very easily
ring.
been on the ground out there trying to push. So,
TV money, man.
unfortunately, I hate to sound that way, but
She bought her own ring.
I'm learning as I go, and you're not going to win every time you go out. So if tonight was second, we're going to take it and keep moving forward and go back to the farm. And I'm sure Jeannie and Ricky will put some words for me, but I'm hungry, and the fire is fueled. Trust me. So we're hungry, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing. And I'm blessed to do what I do. I couldn't do it without the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki guys. Dunlop, we got to a great start. Fox, Bell Helmets, Scott Goggles.
Got it. Yeah, we know your sponsors, buddy.
Yeah.
I
But
can-
Fox
yeah.
really.
That's
is
all
he
the
really
ones that
needs to talk
matters, yeah.
about. So, again, thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you're sharing, telling your friends, text everyone, call your neighbor, Get your dog his own cell phone, turn it on Facebook Live.
That's a great
whatever it is.
idea. Yeah. So again, just to in case your audience, so the best way to do this, and I don't know if people know the best way to listen to this. Okay, so you've got your iPhone or your cell phone or however it is that you're watching the FB Live feed. The best way to do this is so Plessinger is going to be the new points leader. McElrath drops down a couple points. I'll be honest, I don't care about listening to Sexton talk. Okay, so plug this into your Bluetooth speaker, aux cable, whatever speaker it is that you listen to, and that's the best way to listen to us. And then you can put your TV on mute. So now we'll listen to Sexton.
Too pumped, but I just went and worked this last week, and I can't even believe it right now. I just kind of rode around in 6th place, and then I made some really key passes, and Adam fell in front of me, and I ended up 3rd. I just can't believe it. I'm so happy. We are happy for you.
So, yeah, just simply, hit that aux cable or the Bluetooth connection to your Bluetooth speaker or whatever it is that you listen to your music on. Just plug that in and then set it up with your TV. And then, again, the key to syncing, in case your FB live stream is a little bit behind, happens for some people, look for the 30-second card. Whenever we see it, that's whenever you push the play button. So that's the easiest way to go about that. All right, so point shakeup. Now we've got the Yamaha out front, Aaron Plessinger. I mean, honestly, after last weekend, I thought that McElrath was probably just going to run away with this.
Well, he put together, he won Anaheim back-to-back, and he put together a couple other wins. Plessinger, I mean, it's his turn. It's his turn to start doing this kind of thing and win. This is what Yamaha expects of him. Cooper Webb is off the team. Jeremy Martin is off the team. They've been off the team for a little while, but now it's time for him to step up and be a key player. So he's definitely right where he needs to be. McElrath, I mean, I think he's the guy on this coast for KTM, obviously, but he's going to have to keep it together. But luckily, I mean, he's only 4 points down, and in the lights class, I mean, you have no idea what is going to happen and what's going to come from it. Next week, look at our 450 class right now with the shakeup with guys being out, being down and out, and Christian Craig right and hurt, that kind of thing. I mean, these guys are going to crash. It's going to happen at some point. The lights class, I mean, somebody's going to crash in the first turn, or look at Zach Osborne taking out Savachi in the last turn in Vegas. You know what I mean? And you've got the East Coast shakeup coming up, West Coast, 2 shootouts this year. So I think there's still a kind of, I want to say it's a short series, but it's also a long road. I mean, it's going to be your top 3 guys. And really Plessinger, Savachi, and McElrath, that's really who it's going to come down to. And that's really the guys that have a shot at a title because the series is shorter. But I see there will probably be a couple more big swings in the points as we go, with some guys falling down or maybe even some first-term pileups, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and obviously, as we can see, literally anything can happen. So, yeah, two of our top dogs are out. And I mean, maybe we could see James Stewart make a return to racing.
James Stewart. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
at all.
no,
you did that on purpose.
Yeah, I did that.
Do you really want me to say anything about James Stewart?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to throw that in there real quick
because you knew I'd get a little
revved up.
Yeah.
Okay, so
revving in neutral.
In my professional opinion, it's now the proof is in the pudding that it's anybody's series to lose. It's maybe just hold on, I mean, like Carmichael has said so many times, you can't win the series in the first race, but you sure can lose it.
And I mean, look what's happening now. You could almost put those same words in the first 2 races.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I mean, this is a huge swing. Your 2 heavy hitters coming into this race. By the way, do you have the recording thing going?
Yeah, it's going.
So your 2 heavy hitters, your main guys, your Monster Energy Cup winner, $1 Million Man.
Yeah.
He won 9 races, 13 races. How many races did Tomac win last year? 9. I think he went on like a 9 race run or something. And I mean, those are your big names coming into this. Those have the fans. They're getting big money to go win these races. And now both of them are missing the second round of the series. I mean, this couldn't be any better for Ken Roczen coming back after a season and, starting off slow with the 4th, getting through the first round, let's get into the second round. Just survive, get into it. Okay, start slow and just build. Couldn't be any better for him. Jason Anderson, it's his turn to win.
Yeah.
And I think he's finally got the pieces together, whether that was going back home to California for the offseason or just finally being his time. It's coming together.
And Roczen could easily have a Cinderella story coming back from not even racing, but a couple times last year to this year. And now he could,
he could leave here the points leader.
Well, he could leave here the points leader, and he could also just be the guy to finish all the races, a Dungey style.
Right.
He could win they're close. How do I say this? They know each other well. Ken knows that Dungey's diesel performances have worked so many times. Just be there, be in the fight every weekend, top 5. Tomac's got a DNF. Musquin's got a DNF. Tomac now with 2 DNFs or DNS. And Musquin, the other top dog, now he's got a DNF. So obviously Anderson, Barcia, and Roczen are probably going to be the guys to really stay consistent. And we may see, honestly, we might see a couple guys keep the championship in mind, keep the championship points in mind, and maybe not go for the win every single night. And we probably will see
multiple winners. You'll have a Cole Seeley, somebody like that comes through that you just don't, kind of one of the guys, but also not one of the guys all at the same time. Maybe Brock Tickle pulls one out with a good start or something. Cooper Webb, perfect
example.
Where he needs to show up. Yamaha is paying him a lot of money, and it's time for him to show up. So it could be, it's kind of anybody's game right now. This is a huge shakeup. When's the last time a Supercross round, a Supercross series, the two heavy hitters going into it missed the second race? Carmichael crashed out of Anaheim 1 and came back to win in 2002? That's the last time I can think of somebody crashing out of them and missing like Tomac, missing 2 races.
I wonder how many people had Tomac not racing. Excuse me. I wonder how many people had Musquin not racing the main in their fantasy.
Oh, talk about a mix-up.
Yeah.
So the fantasy is a whole out of control deal now. I didn't even think about it. I don't do fantasy, but
yeah, neither do I. Yeah. I just don't have time for it. But it's a cool concept, and I'm glad that people do it. And I'm glad that
I think it's great for the sport.
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
what it's done for football and every other sport, so it's got to be good for ours as well. Got to be. I don't know. But you know what? I know if you're doing the Donnell's Motorcycles Fantasy, they give out some really good prizes, maybe even some Fox gear, anything like that. So that might be the first place to start if you're wanting to get involved with that.
So we're going to go to the comments section now and see who's your guy, who's your dark horse of who you could see pull a win out, like Weston Pike, Justin Brayton, some of these guys that maybe haven't gotten a win before by happenstance or whatever. Let's go to the comments. Scott, you just ramble about something.
Ramble on about it. You mentioned Justin Brayton. He qualified 5th. He's your Australian Supercross champion. He's riding a factory Honda, so that's definitely somebody that's a dark horse that's been doing this a long time and knows what to do. But make sure you're liking, sharing, telling all your friends, texting your neighbor, putting it up on multiple devices, whatever you need to do. Listen in on the podcast. Put a Facebook Live, share the post, anything like that. Comment below, all that kind of stuff.
So Cody Ray's here. Said a good question. He says, does that tarnish Roczen's championship if Tomac and Marv are out? Okay, so let me ask you this, Cody. If that was you and it was your championship to win and you won it, but yet Tomac and Marvin didn't finish the series, would you feel any less about the championship? Probably not. Listen, a win is a win is a win. And on top of that, the championship bonus and the race wins are the same, regardless of who else is in the races. So yeah, valid question to ask. Would it be kind of like an asterisk on the series? Yeah, maybe, perhaps. But on the other hand, it is what it is. And a win, you'll take it however it comes.
I don't believe in asterisks, whatever you want to put, however you say it. Anyways, I don't think it tarnishes the season. I don't think it's possible for that. These are professional athletes. Just because Tomac Tom Brady gets hurt and they win the Super Bowl, does that mean he doesn't, you know what I mean? Whatever, it doesn't count. He misses, he doesn't play the first or second game, or he rests a game. Does that mean that the win doesn't count as much? No, it doesn't work like that. I'm rambled on about something I don't know what I'm talking about. But as far as that goes, I don't see it tarnishing anything. He still has to beat everybody else. You have to finish the race to win, to be competitive. If you're not there, if you're not at the race, it doesn't matter, because you beat everybody that was there. Those guys didn't show up. That's on them. That's not on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, yeah. So does that mean when Reed won his title in 2004 or something, that because Carmichael was out with a knee injury, it doesn't really count? Like, no, it doesn't work that way at all. You have to be there. You have to be in the title fight, and whoever wins the championship because they put in the work, they finish the races, and they beat everybody when it mattered.
And I can add my anecdotal evidence of saying that in 2017, whenever I won the first Missouri State race in the 250A class, I'm just going to go ahead and oops, I'm sorry. Did I flex on y'all? So the thing is, the Goalie brothers weren't there, but I don't give a shit. I was there. I won. That's, it doesn't, I don't look back and be like, damn, I wish Aaron and Adam were there so I could have beat them, because I beat them before and I can beat them again. But just because they weren't there that day doesn't say, oh man, wish I could have fucking beat them,
Yeah, no, I usually hope those people aren't there. I usually hope nobody shows up. So it just makes my life easier. I don't know.
So you can collect your paycheck and leave.
Yeah, exactly. I think the most money I made at a race, I was the only one that signed up, and it was like 400% or something. I don't know. 400%. I don't think there's ever been such a thing.
I've raced for 300.
Okay, so maybe I think it was 200%. I was by myself, so I doubled my money just for showing up.
Hey, that's one way to do it. So, okay, again, guys, while we're in a commercial break here, to hit that share button, hit the like button. It's right there. You're holding the phone in your hand. The mouse is right there. Just push the goddamn like button, please, and thank you in advance. We appreciate it. If you are a fan of the Over the Bars podcast, then you know what I'm about to say next. If you're new, we would like to thank all of our Patreon subscribers. Stand by 1 second as I go through the list here. Okay, I'm just going to pull this off. Okay, so our Patreon subscribers, as I go through the list, Corey Francis, who's one of our newer subscribers, we appreciate you.
Corey Francis.
Dylan Dior-Nellis, solid fan of the OTB podcast. Jesse Anderson, great guy to have as part of the show. Christopher McKillop, key patron. Justin Jones, also one of our newer guys. Dan Bax, phenomenal A+ dude, been supporting OTB for a long time. Also, thank you to AJ Edwards, Josh Hudson, Eric Young, Sarah Ball, Nick Peterson, Corey Hipp, Bruce Richardson, and Bart Shiflett. We appreciate you guys for everything that you've done for us. It really makes the OTB podcast what it is. So thanks a bunch. If you're interested in becoming one of the OTB patrons, go to patreon.com/overthebars and find out sweet ways to get cool merchandise. We've shipped out stickers, t-shirts, dog tags, and we have plenty more. Eventually we're going to do cup koozies. We're going to do just neat little promotional items to just, say thank you. We appreciate it. So if you're looking to sync up, the 30-second board hasn't come up yet, but they are doing the aerial view of the start if your audio is a little bit behind. So Carmichael's walking off of the track after he's given his 2 cents. Excuse me, I hiccuped there. Man, you can see the ruts are no joke, obviously.
Yeah,
Left to right, the whole deal.
So here we go. Guys are lining up on the start. Goggles are on. It's about time to get going. This should be a very interesting race. This is going to be good to go. We've got a brand new starting grid. I mean, this is the second time these guys have launched off that.
20 seconds on the board now, 19, 18. If you're looking to sync, go ahead and push play now as the board has come up. So, yeah, our top two qualifiers are Roczen and Anderson, who both won their heats. 5 seconds now on the board. 450 main event. NRG Stadium from Houston, Texas. The board's going to go sideways. Gate could drop at any second from the new starting gate here in Monster Energy Supercross, and they're off. Into the first corner, probably going to be somebody from the inside, but Barsha takes Barsha takes the whole shot. It looks like Martin went outside. Roxon's going to come out of the first corner with the lead. Big surprise.
Big pileup in the first turn claiming Cooper Webb and another rider. I didn't see who it was, but that's really going to mix things up, and Yamaha's not going to expect that. But they've got their fill in here, making up for it with the whole shot and running away with this first lap.
So Barsha, Roxon, Pike with another great start. Anderson right behind him. I'd like to see Pike pull out a top 3. That'd be awesome. The guy who formerly lived on Privateer Island, now a factory Suzuki racer for JGR Suzuki.
Yeah, he's in some stiff company here though with Justin Barsha, former race winner, and comeback kid Ken Roxon, and then your fastest qualifier of the night, Jason Anderson, former winner also.
Seeley sits in 5th. And it's a pretty tight, only 2 seconds separate. This main event's going to go 20 minutes plus 2 laps. Roxon takes the inside, pushes Barsha outside. Barsha's now setting up inside. He's going to not able to triple over. Roxon protects the inside and doesn't let Barsha get in.
Man, you think we're going to see any of this Bam Bam come back with Barsha here? Or do you think that's something he's trying to turn over a new leaf? Because to me, it looked like he kind of gave a little room. Yeah, go ahead to Roxon is what it looked like to me.
I think that style of racing is unsustainable and probably isn't going to last. So Anderson now passes Pike into 3rd. He's got himself a podium spot. Pike comes back strong in the whoops. He's not going to give it up to Anderson by any means.
Yeah, here we go. I mean, look at these ruts on this track. The 250s clearly did a number on it. And Anderson about loops out across the mechanics area, but keeps it under control and takes a little bit of an inside line there in the sand section. But this track is clearly taking a beating, and these guys are going to be searching for new lines the whole time.
Seeley now coming up into the scene. He makes the pass on Pike. And just for those that were wondering, yes, Anderson is indeed running with an untucked jersey. Thank you, Jason, for keeping that hashtag untuck or die still rolling. So Roxon out front, 0.8 seconds behind him, Barsha. Anderson, 1.6 seconds behind. Then Seeley, Pike. Those are your top 5 riders. Really good mix of guys here. I think Roxon's got a full plate on his hands with Barsha breathing down the back of his neck.
Yeah, it looks like Barsha's kind of regrouped and he's ready. He's found some lines he likes and he's making some changes. This time last year, Roxon would have been 10 seconds ahead, and now here he is, just kind of staying steady with it, and Barsha's obviously liking that Yamaha and making it happen by just keeping right on his tails, waiting for a mistake.
Did you see how Barsha just skimmed across that roller section there? Most guys like you or I would have a hard time doubling through, and Barsha just clipped the top of every single one of them. That was pretty amazing.
Well, I mean, yeah. Why not? You ride at MTF. I think that's part of the deal. I think they teach you how to do that.
Yeah, I think it is. So Barsha to the inside. Roxon able to keep the lead from the outside. Not quite bar to bar, to definitely toe to toe. Barsha on the Yamaha, Roxon on the factory Honda. Anderson 2 seconds behind. Still Seeley and Pike in 4th and 5th. It's a tight race. And, 16 and a half minutes left to go, plus a lap after that. Anything could happen here. Scott, what do you suspect in the next couple laps?
I think you're going to see a mix-up here between 4th, 5th, 6th, kind of right in there. I think you're going to have some guys move around with Brayton running 6th, Pike in 5th, Seeley in 4th. I think as this race progresses, and I think some guys are going to make some mistakes, and you're going to see some changes in there. Your top 3, Anderson's really going to need to get caught up to these guys, but they're racing close, they're racing tight. Anything can happen.
Barsha able to quad through the off the table single in the second rhythm section. That's I think that may pay off later in the race, as he does seem to go triple through the man. I can't get over how far out they're launching that straight. I mean, that's every bit of 70 feet off of a 3.5 foot roller. The ruts are starting to really develop. Barsha almost goes off the side of the track after the finish line catapult there. Still throws a little style into the triple afterwards, launches out on the start straight. Still, Roxon out front, Barsha in second. Then Anderson, Seeley, Pike, Brayton, Baggett, Grant, Tickle, and Freeze rounding out your top 10. Good ride for Vince Freeze. Brock Tickle, I'd like to see him move up a couple spots. Josh Grant, solid ride out of him. Fastest lap is by Ken Roxon with a 54.1, and right behind him is Justin Barsha with a 54.6. So it's really anybody's race, really close in lap times.
Yeah, the guys have gapped it out a little bit. Cole Seeley catching up a little bit to Anderson here, but the guys have a little bit of breathing room, able to settle in here, but I don't see it lasting too long. I see somebody making a mistake with how this track's kind of coming apart, especially right here at the finish line. These guys are getting real close to the edge of the track on the landing of the finish and right on that triple coming out before they get into the mechanics area.
I think a lot of that is because coming over that finish line catapult, that they kind of curve to the right to scrub the bike down to set up for the next left-handed corner, and it's it's just, man, Barsha's the only one that's quadded through that rhythm section there, but so it sets them up for the outside off of that finish line jump, and that's cutting it close out to the outside. So something I'm thinking about right now, I just realized this, but I love how, except for one lane where the sand section is, the track goes the full length of the floor in every direction, followed by a 180.
Yeah, it's great for setting up for passing, that kind of things. It changes big rhythms, guys have multiple options. And the way the dirt is on this track, they are going different places. They're making different lines. They're making different sections. I mean, every rider is taking a little bit different something that they think's working for them. But Barsha, Anderson, Seeley, they're going to need to find a little bit something else if they're going to catch up to Roczen here.
Yeah, they may not be able to catch up to him, but again, anything can happen. And Anderson right now turning a faster lap time and catching up to Barsha, and looks like Anderson's a little bit dialed through the whoops, more so than Barsha, and he's going to jump to the outside around that corner that kind of steps outside of the stadium floor. This really, those ruts really separate the men from the boys here. Even in the 250 class, those guys weren't able to hit those ruts quite as well as the 450 riders because they just frankly don't have as much torque.
Yeah, these guys, I think it makes a big difference that Barsha and Anderson can still see Roczen for the most part. Anderson's dropped some time there coming out of that turn. He kind of seemed to catch his foot before he gets into that triple. But I think them being able to see that 94 is gonna change some things and keep them right in right in the path of everybody else.
Yeah, Roczen not able to make it very cleanly through that rhythm section, and he may drop back a few tenths of a second. Barsha, that's the section that Barsha was making that quad through, and so 12 minutes ago, we're just under halfway through the race, and
Roczen isn't doing anything special. He's not doing anything crazy, not doing anything to, completely separate himself. He got a good start. He's just kind of riding his own race right now. And the other guys, the way this track's set up, they all kind of do the same thing. And so somebody's going to have to find a little bit of extra something to if they're going to close the gap on him, or it's going to be a fatigue type thing. Roczen's been off the bike for a while. He's fit, but he's only ran one race at this race speed in a year basically. So this should be pretty interesting. Anderson still hitting that quad along with Barsha, heading into the whoops here into this long section. And look how beat up that whoop section is. There's pretty much one line down the middle these guys are hitting, but they're taking the same line, and they don't seem to be gaining any ground on each other as this track's starting to wear down.
Well, the thing about that main line there in the whoops is it's the one that's most beat down. Now, it's also the narrowest line. So it's, again, a catch-22 of do you risk it and go through that, which is the faster line, but that rut can jump up and claim you. Anderson able to make the triple, Barsha not. Anderson now in second, no surprises. And it's, wow, Anderson really going through that sand section at another clip. Now that he's gotten past Barsha, it's almost as if he was holding back and then caught second wind as soon as Barsha made that mistake.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that the way that turn is after the finish, there's about 6 or 7 different ruts coming down in and out of that turn where the guys are cutting down. Anderson was going high and then cutting down inside of the ruts and kind of missing him. And Barsha missed his mark and didn't clear that triple there, and that could have been a big bad wreck at some point, but both made it through. Now Cole Seeley kind of hunting down on Barsha here, and this is for third. So we'll see who can get on the final step of the podium here.
10 minutes ago, so we're past the halfway point plus a lap. Roczen, Anderson, Barsha, Seeley, Pike still in 5th. 5 seconds off of Seeley's pace right now. But, 5 seconds off of Seeley, 10 seconds behind Roczen. So we got a 10-second gap from 1st to 5th. And you really see the guys starting to create take a more creative line. Barsha going outside a little wide, and Seeley on the Honda able to stick it into him and get through that rhythm section closer. But these two can't play with each other because they're known for getting a little too aggressive on the track, but they're fairly clean with each other there.
Yeah, Barsha just clipped that tough spot coming into the whoops. That could have been bad. I wonder do you think Barsha's maybe getting a little tight, getting a little arm pump or something, because he's making some mistakes and dropping back. Seeley settling in and pushing it pretty hard, but they're going for it for sure.
So we're going to drop back a little bit on the TV. I believe that, Freeze and Freeze and Stewart now going for 11th and 12th. Pretty tight battle between these two guys. So we've got Roczen, Anderson, Seeley, Barsha, Pike still in 5th, holding it down there. Further back in the pack, Catanzaro in 18th. Pretty good ride for the Kawasaki Privateer rider. So... Go ahead,
yeah,
Scott.
You got Malcolm Stewart here running 12th on the fill-in ride. He's probably only been on this bike a couple of weeks. I know he was riding in Kawasaki just a couple weeks ago on his own down at his place, and now he's filling in on this JGR Suzuki for the injured Justin Bokel. So
I'm not so sure that he didn't ride this bike for the first time on Tuesday this week.
Yeah, so I mean, he's obviously on a very good motorcycle and a very good rider to make this kind of thing happen. But I think running 12th in a main event, I think that's probably a pretty good success. I mean, why not?
Well, I mean, how many other 250 riders could take a year off and then come back and be in 12th place? So here's the moment of the race. So this is whenever Barsha goes through the sand section and kind of squirrel. Did Barsha go down?
No, it looks like he
very
rode it out.
nearly. Yeah. And, whenever you have a mistake like that, wow, Anderson catching back up to Roczen, and he's going to put a good challenge in for the lead. Anderson skimming through the whoops. Roczen takes the main line in the ruts. Roczen out to the inside, Anderson outside, and they maintain a solid gap between each other, less than a second.
Yeah, we took a look back into 11th and 12th place, looking back at Stewart and Freezy, and now we're back up front where less than a second separates Roczen and Anderson, and both seem to have picked up the pace just a little bit. They both look like they found some lines that are working for them, and Anderson is clearly doing something a little bit different to make a little bit more speed, save a little bit of time on them, and they're starting to push it now here as we've got 7 minutes to go.
So Ken Roczen's best lap time was a 54.1. Anderson at this time was a 53.9, and that was both set on the 6th lap. So Anderson quads past Roczen. He's the new race leader. Anderson now out front. Roczen back to 2nd. Seeley in 3rd, 8 seconds behind. So these two have put on the afterburners and really taken charge of this race.
Yeah, so we're going to get into lappers here, and it's Roczen's going to have to kind of regroup here, which I think he's watching what Anderson's doing. Maybe take a lap or two to here, and just see exactly where he's going, what he's doing, where he's making time up. Maybe he's got a spot that's a little bit faster, and he's going to settle in for just a little bit. He's a seasoned rider. He's a world champion. He knows what to do here, and so he's going to have to regroup if he's going to make the pass on Anderson.
And again, this is it could be Roczen to come back and take the motive of, I don't have to win every single race by 15 seconds, because that doesn't necessarily win the championship year in and year out. Roczen could settle for a second here, and Anderson will obviously walk away the points leader if we finish how they run right now. But it's Anderson's race to lose, but he is the faster rider. So we're going to take a look here at Weston Pike in 5th place, and Justin Brayton on the MCR Smart Top Honda sitting right behind him in 6th. It looks like Brayton's got the better bike, the better setup, should be able to pass Pike.
Yeah, as you can see here, I mean, Brayton he qualified 5th. He had a good time. He's running right about there, setting him up and trying to make a pass on Pike. I mean, Brayton's your Australian Supercross champion, so he just needs to kind of ride here and wait for Weston to make a mistake or set him up just right, like he is right here, trying to make a pass on the inside, but that rut got the best of him, and he missed the triple.
So still, Anderson out front. Roczen actually caught back up, shortened up the gap. Meanwhile, Seeley and Barcia are battling out for the last stop on the podium. Only 0.3 of a second separate the two. Pretty good race in between these two. These whoop sections and the rut, Scott, are kind of proving every lap to break down more and more. Do you see that main line only becoming more treacherous or actually becoming easier as these 450s torque their way through it?
You know, I think it depends on the section. I think in your rhythm sections, as far as you're coming through and making these, triples, quads, whatever it is going to be, I think your main line is going to be more dangerous. But as you're coming through these whoop sections, that main line that's beat down, I believe that's going to be your best option. You're just going to have a little less hazards at this late in the night. It's not that narrow. It looks a little more narrow on TV than it really is. But as you can see, Cole here, he's not even tripling through that section. He found a smooth line on the left, maybe a little less ruts, less kickers, and he's just tripling through instead of quadding. And Barcia has quit quadding through there. So you can see the track's wearing down. Cole still opts to go through that main line, even if he's got to jump a little bit. But he's, settling in and finding these lines where the ruts are not at, because you can see they're getting deeper, they're getting more treacherous, and the track is just gnarly right now.
Who would have thought that the first two races in the Supercross series would be this ruddy and this gnarly? Obviously, this weekend here in Houston, more ruddy. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so Anik Knapp kind of caused a little bit of a track log there, or a track block, and Barcia able to get past Seeley and take back third place. So it's a good battle for the third place final step on the podium. So as I was saying, actually, I don't remember what I was saying, but we're going to recap here and watch what happens here. Yes, Seeley just set up to go outside because he's not taking that main inside rut there, and Barcia had him set up. He was just a good.
Barcia was set up to pass. Barcia was set up to pass him before he even got in there to Endicnap, and Endicnap just happened to be right in the way of Cole, and it held him up just long enough for Barcia to make the pass. But look how rutted and gnarly that turn is after the finish line. Anderson really struggling to get over that triple out of the turn.
2.5 minutes race time left, and we've made it through 19 laps as of this point. So yeah, it's proven to be that these guys are carving up the track much more than in years past, because if this was a couple of years ago, this would be the white flag lap, but we still have at least 2, maybe 3 laps remaining, and the track is only going to deteriorate even more. Right now, Grant in 9th, Martin in 10th, half of a minute behind. Webb sets in 14th. He's the last rider not be lapped on the current lap. Anderson just passed Ben LeMay, the Alaskan, on the privateer Honda effort. So still Anderson, Roczen, Barcia, Seeley, Pike, and Baggett, and holding down 6th, who came back from a fairly poor start.
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to Chad Reed here, running 16th as a Fox athlete. I got to mention him as well. Again, why not? But he's only going to get better as the season goes on. He's still struggling with that ankle injury. He's a crowd favorite, and he's running his own program this year. So hopefully we'll see some better things out of him as he heals up and gets better. But Grant, Martin still running strong here. We'll see what kind of happens. But look at this turn. Look at the ruts in this turn.
Yeah, wow. I really like Martin's line there. He went all the way around all the ruts on the outside. How about that? Reed pulling over to give his old buddy Josh Grant a thumbs up as he passes by.
Do you think if it was Ryan Dungey, he would have moved over into his way?
Oh man, that's a good question. So yeah, I'm noticing, and maybe this has something to do with Trey's presence at the races. Have you noticed that the transition between the jumps have been much smoother so far at the first 2 races this year?
I think the tracks in general have had just better transitions along. I mean, through everything, even into the whoops, that kind of thing. I think they've let a lot of it be on the dirt. I think the dirt has become a big part of the track, more so than the actual rhythms and what they're doing. We haven't seen any major quads. I mean, last year you would have seen each race would have
Right.
had some big quad that you
Yeah.
had to do or jump over something, and you're not seeing that now. And I mean, Trey's presence is clearly going to be a factor in that for sure.
I hope that his lobbying for the riders is in fact bringing good representation for the group of riders that are racing, and that they Feld is taking into consideration all the things that Trey has collectively put together. So final lap, white flag, Anderson out front. He's got a solid 4 seconds on Roczen. How about that? Anderson catching up and passing Kenny Roczen, who is a world champion, Supercross champion, and now it appears that it's Roczen's time to shine. No Tomac, no Musquin. All the weight sits on Anderson. All he's got to do is just make it through these next two whoop sections cleanly, which are proven to be pretty dicey. Go ahead, Scott.
This is a big thing for Rockstar Husqvarna. I don't know the last time that they had a points leader in the 450 class, where they had they're still new on the winning side as far as this new Rockstar Husqvarna team. So this is big for them, big for Jason, big for Alpine Stars. So this is a big mix up in the series now with Anderson taking the win.
Anderson does in fact take the win. Roczen right behind them. They congratulate each other. A lot of camaraderie here. Jason looks like he's gassed a little bit. It's been a little bit since he's won one. What was it? A1 last year that he won that race.
Sure, I don't know.
Okay, good. Thank you for being a good statistician. Anderson taking high fives from both Barsha and Roczen. No love from Seeley though. Big shocker.
Yeah, they've had a few run-ins there. So we've got Jason Anderson, Ken Roczen, Justin Barsha, Cole Seeley, Weston Pike, Justin Brayton, Blake Baggett, Brock Tickle, Josh Grant, and Jeremy Martin on the fill-in Geico Honda ride, rounding out the top 10. So big mix-up in points. Anderson with the win at the second round. Now your points leader. We'll wait and see what the points deficit is going to be for. Tomac clearly last. And
last, dead last, no points,
no 0, and now we have Musquin out with this round, and both with shoulder injuries.
And actually, now that I think about it, Scott, actually, both you and I are tied for points with Eli Tomac in the Monster Energy Supercross Series right now.
Yes, we are, and so.
So keep that in mind. We'll be opening up the autograph line at 2:45 next weekend. So if you want to come over, we'll be sure to sign the autographs for all of our Over the Bars fans. So while we're at commercial break right now, thank you. Thanks for watching. We had a solid 20 viewers or so that stayed with us all the way through the 450 main. We really appreciate that. We appreciate everybody watching all around the world, and from the first 250 SX heat until now. We greatly appreciate it. Keep giving those likes, keep giving those shares. Tell your friends about it. Whenever you go, if you're going to the track, texting your buddies in your group chat, whatever, say, hey, by the way, did you guys know that you don't have to listen to Ralph and Jeff if you don't want to? So just we appreciate all the love. Check us out on Instagram, over.the.bars, and then again you can go to ripandruts.com, click the store, and then over the bars t-shirts are available, $15 shipped. We have all sizes, so pick one up today. So again, thank you to our sponsors: Donnell's Motorcycles, Bar to Bar MX, Bikeworks LLC by Nick Peterson, and Darttown Arena in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah, I want to send a couple thanks out to a couple guys, a couple people that have been listening in. I want to send a big shout out to Bruce at Bar to Bar. Runs a great facility, great program. He's got a big race coming up in March, Loretta qualifier for the North Central. You want to be there. I'm going to be there. He's probably not going to be there.
I'm going to be there to win.
So we're going to be battling it out in the plus 25 and see who can get tired first. And it's I want to give a shout out to him. That's going to be a good race, great facility. I just rode there a couple weeks ago. I'm shooting to go back down there soon. Are you want to?
I'm just pulling up the dates. It's March 16th, 17th, and 18th is the Loretta Lynn qualifier, and I believe that's the first one of the North Central or is he North Central?
It's North Central,
yeah.
where the Millville is the amateur regional, and everybody loves to go to Millville and needs a reason to go. So you definitely want to head out to that race. I'll be there. I'll be signing autographs. Not really.
Yeah.
I'll be there though. You can wave and say hi, or you can flip me the bird, whatever it needs to be. Like that. That's typical. But you want to give a shout out to him. Check out one of my pages, Innovative MX, or go to innovativemx.com. I run a couple schools. I'm working on a schedule for 2018 right now. It's cold. We're going to make some changes. I'm going to get, this weather's going to change, and we're going to get some stuff rolling as we get closer to some warmer weather. So innovativemx.com, InnovativeMX on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and check it out. I'm also Scott.Gebkin on Instagram. Check it out, and thanks for listening to me ramble on about dirt bikes for the last couple hours or whatever. So I have no idea what I'm doing, Jeff.
That's fine. Perfect. So to wrap it up, guys, thanks a bunch. We appreciate you. We're just we're going to end the podcast now. And tomorrow, let's see, today's Saturday. So on Tuesday, head to your local bike dealership and pick up a brand new set of Fox gear.
Yeah, because I'll be doing it.
Thanks for watching.